for Joe Rogan. I was really good friends with Dr. Edgar Mitchell, 14th.
I know you were.
Yeah, Apollo 14, sixth man to walk the moon. And I asked him about the controversy. I asked him about all that stuff. And I even asked him to walk me through every stage. I was friends with Buzz Aldrin's sister, Faye Ann Potter. She took me for a tour in her house, showed me all the photographs, what the astronauts were supposed to do under a number of operations. One is they missed the moon and they were jettisoned off into space. They were to take these things to kill them. If Neil got out.
Oh, they had like cyanide capsules?
Cyanide capsules. That's what
in case they got shot, so they didn't have to have a slow death.
Yeah,
she told you this.
Yes, she did. Yes, and she watched the whole thing from behind the scenes because she was the sister. So she and she had all these photographs that I'd never seen before. And then she said, my brother was told that if Neil gets off the moon and he lands and he just sinks into the abyss or whatever happens, you're not to play the hero. You don't go out there. You get in the ship and you leave his ass and you go rejoin the lunar orbiter and you get the hell back to Earth. That's what she told me. So all these things, and then he told, but there are some really weird inconsistencies. I'd be the first one to tell you that. Like I was like, that's interesting. That's interesting. And why wouldn't they lie about it? Because the Russians were watching. It was like, who can get there first, right?
Yeah.
So it makes perfectly good sense that we would lie about it and stage this huge hoax to let the Russians know, hey, we're the king of, So I'm open to it, but he told me in such vivid detail. He had to be
Did
such
he really?
a good, yes. I closed my eyes and I told him I want every aspect of going to the moon. I want you to tell me everything. And I apologized to him. And that was before I even had a hint of like fake moonlighting stuff. It was in the 90s. And some stuff started coming out after that. And I was friends with him for at least a decade, possibly more than that. And I went to his house. And he told me in great detail, a level of detail that I think about 5 years later, I had the most vivid dream. I swear to God, I went to the moon. What it was like, the translunar, like go around the Earth, and then they have to turn on the rockets. They have to get the trajectory just right.
Translunar injection.
Translunar injection. Yep, exactly. Translunar injection. He goes, James, if we got off just a microscopic, he goes, we would either hit the moon or we'd ricochet off and be out in outer space. He said, it had to be perfect. And then I said, what was it like on the way to the moon? He goes, well, I watched the Earth get smaller and smaller, the moon get bigger and bigger. But other than that, he goes, I might as well have been in a simulator because I was so focused on the task at hand, I didn't really pay attention or have time to absorb like what we were actually doing. And then he said when he got to the moon, it was his job to land the lunar lander, and they had to separate from the lunar orbiter. And I guess Michael Collins went around the moon, theoretically. And he landed, and he said when he actually sat down on the lunar surface was the first time that he was like, oh my gosh, that's when it kind of really hit him. And NASA had told him, I'm just telling you what he told me.
Yes.
I'm not asking anyone to believe what I'm saying. And he said that NASA had gave him very explicit directions to sleep because they'd been up essentially for 3 days to get to the moon. And so they instructed them to sleep. They got in their hammocks, and he said he could hear these like macrometeorites pelting the skin, like you could hear it laying on the surface of the moon. That's what he told me. Yeah, he said you could hear it. And they were sitting there, and they were so excited. They were like, we're on the surface of the moon. They're like, screw it. We haven't slept. We can't get to sleep. We're not going to go to sleep. We're putting our suits on. Told NASA, put their suits on, and they went to the surface of the moon. He said he's walking around the surface of the moon, and he said they had these big gardening gloves, and they had Hasselblad cameras with no viewfinders. And he said he was like walking on the moon, and he looked out, and he saw this marble, this beautiful blue marble suspended in a vacuum of space. He goes, James, you don't know the vacuum of space until you're in space, the darkness. This blue life support vehicle, our spaceship, suspended in the vacuum of space, so beautiful. He goes, I put up one of my hands and I blocked out everything I knew. And then when he was coming home after they reconnected with the lunar orbiter and then they did a trans-Earth injection back, he said he had a couple of days to reflect on what he was actually doing. And that's when he had this incredible epiphany. Again, I'm just reporting what he told me. He said he had this epiphany. He founded the Noah Institute to understand it better, of this deep sense of interconnectedness, the molecules of his body.
Overview effect.
There's a connected, he could feel the molecules of his body connected to the spaceship, connected to the stars, like it was all one. It was all one creation, one living consciousness, one thing, right? He could feel it. And he did some experiments with ESP as well.
Yeah.
That he said was quite successful. Like they would project. I don't think he told NASA about it at the time. It leaked out later because he was like, we're going to tell him I'm doing ESP.
Yeah.
ESP, connection. So
he
I would
brought
have
some cards with him or something.
I would have to dismiss his entire testimony. And if, but again, I'm not here to debate whether we went to the moon or not. I'm just saying that I'm not sold that we didn't. I'm not sold that we fully did, because there are some discrepancies and some things that have been pointed out to me that does make me scratch my head. I brought this up with a guy who's a physicist, and he knows everything about NASA. And I said, give me your best shot. Give me 10 reasons why you went to the moon. It's a guy that I used to work with, Ben. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you could see the reflectors. You could see this. We still have the crate. The machine is still on the surface. I was like, all right, that's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
And then you hear 10 of that, well, we didn't. And that too is compelling. Mm-hmm. So shit.
I'm in the same boat as you.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not convinced we went, and I'm not convinced we didn't.
Yeah. But having that connection to Apollo 14, Edgar Mitchell, man, and why would he lie? Well, I guess he would lie to me, but he told a pretty convincing lie, I got to tell you.
There was a TV show that came out, I think in 2000s. You could probably find it, Steve, in England, where they convinced a group of, this was like a reality show, where they successfully convinced a group of people that they went to outer space.
No way.
Yep.
Well, I mean, didn't Kubrick, didn't he do, he actually did. Okay, so I brought that up with Edgar Mitchell. I said, hey, there's some inconsistencies and shadows and light sources, this and that. And he goes, James, we had these Hasselblad cameras, no viewfinder, big gardening gloves on. Quite honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, the whole world watching the biggest, most expensive operation in the history of mankind. Mm-hmm. He goes, it wouldn't surprise me, just because they'd have to produce some high quality, good imagery to the world, that maybe they did some stuff as a plan B that leaked out.
Who said that?
Edgar Mitchell told me that.
Mitchell said that.
He did. He told me that from his mouth to my ears, that it wouldn't surprise him. He didn't say it happened, but it wouldn't surprise him if that did happen.
That's what I would say. I wouldn't say that we absolutely didn't go, but I would very confidently say that footage was
sketchy,
cooked up and sketchy. Like, imagine, and Steve, find the video on YouTube of the lunar module leaving the first surface of the moon again, the one that we pulled up with Duncan. Imagine that we had never gone to the moon, and I said, James, I went to the moon. You're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here, Danny. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I went to the moon. I'll show you the footage. Now pull up the footage of that lunar module, and I'm going to show you evidence that I went to the moon, James. Mm-hmm. Right? The most extraordinary feat of mankind ever. Yeah. I'm going to show you the footage right now of my spaceship. Ready?
Yeah.
This is my spaceship. See? I went to the moon. That's my ship.
Yeah.
And another crazy thing. Have you ever heard of Jolly West?
So they would have had to have left that camera on board. That camera would have had to transmit.
They left that camera on the moon. On the moon.
Yep. And they had it remote controlled because it pivots up. Too.
And there was like a 5-second delay.
There's a 5-second delay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Faye-Ann Potter, and I can't believe I never got her on camera, was Buzz Aldrin's sister.
Space Cadets. That's the reality show where they convinced the people they went to space.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There were two people two sightings that her brother had. One was as a fighter pilot, and he chased a disc. And this is Buzz Aldrin, who's still alive. Dude, I have Buzz Aldrin's number. Why don't you get him on the show and bring this up?
I would fucking love to.
He's going to die.
I know.